with our monthly anime recommendations out the way, with the shows that we, are really into the most, I thought since this episode hopefully will be out on Christmas, I thought that we'll give a kind of a Christmas style anime setting and call this section "What do we ask Anime Senpai for Christmas?" Now, since I kind of started off with the introduction, I'm actually curious, Kay, what do you want anime related for Christmas as your Christmas gift under your tree?
Oh man, I want so many things. There are so many wishes and so many hopes.
So many mangas, so many series you want dubbed that probably will never get licensed.
What I honestly really want is a Konosuba dub.
Ooh.
Like, Konosuba is really funny in Japanese, but like, I don't know, there's this thing where I don't like it when an anime doesn't have a dub.
I think it's also a language barrier too.
Yeah, like, there are a lot of people who like don't watch anime subtitled, and a lot of people I know, I'll always ask them like, "Hey, are you watching like the new Sword Art season?" And they'll be like, "No, I'm waiting for the English." And
That
I'm
was
like, "Whoa."
that was a big problem with me in high school. Like people be like, "Yo, did you see the new episode of Attack on Titan?" Like, yeah, on Crunchyroll, but then Toonami picked it up and they were like, weeks if not months behind. So like they'll be like, "Aaron got eaten," but then it would be like, I'm like so far ahead of the game that like I know this stuff already.
Right, you kind of have to like pretend that you're watching it with them.
Yeah,
It doesn't make me feel bad. It just why do they have to be so slow?
yeah.
Well, nowadays they're getting pretty fast, but Crunchyroll in particular is really weird about their dubs.
Oh yeah, especially like, and I noticed with Crunchyroll, they'll like recommend older popular dubs. Like they're not like really up to, because I honestly think that's like a Funimation like thing as well. Like they'll have the dub market in Crunchyroll. This has the sub Japanese air at like an hour, like after an hour on television market thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, speaking of Konosuba, that'd be a really interesting one because I had watched like a couple episodes personally and really didn't get into it. But I think it was more just a language barrier and like how the Japanese portray and like their wording on like comedy and the sentences they portray themselves, other than like let's say watching a dub like I like ReZero for example. Like I watched that subbed. It was pretty funny for the most part, but when you watch it dub in your own language, you can understand like the tones when whenever someone fluctuates or when they're being like sarcastic in a sense. It's just kind of it's just the subtle incidents or the subtle things that you notice about when someone speaks in your language, you can kind of catch upon.
Right, and like even for me, like I can listen to them in Japanese and I'll still understand what they're saying without the need for subtitles. But the moments that I do need them, sometimes I find myself spacing out and I just kind of stare at the words, but I'm not really absorbing what they're saying, and so I kind of like miss the whole point of the scene that I'm. But
Uh,
then when I'll be watching the dub and I'm like, oh, so that's what they were talking about. Okay.
right. I feel like it's the way they portray like the wording and like their vocals, like how like it gives that like extra impact that you get, like, oh, something is supposed to be funny or like sarcastic in a sense.
Right, which you wouldn't really get because if you're not fluent in Japanese, you're not really like you don't know when the cue is to laugh. Like when's the punchline basically.
Right, because we'll talk about it later on in the show, but when we were watching the Bleach live action movie, there'll be incidents where they're very quiet and like soft spoken, and then like the background characters would laugh. I'd be like, oh, did I miss my cue at that point?
Right.
Whereas like for us, when like they'll be like very loud, be like, huh? Like you think like, oh, that's the point where we laugh, right? And everybody like, no, like, that's not it. Like to them. So like I said, it's a huge language barrier when it comes to that. So you're kind of just going off, just kind of like
Right.
facial expressions and emotions at that point.
Like Konosuba is still really funny. I really enjoyed watching it. Like whether sub or dub, I still really like it a lot. But I feel like a lot more people would be like exposed to it if it were in dub. But like I said, Crunchyroll's really weird about their dubs because ReZero is still like not out. Like the second half still isn't out.
I'm glad you mentioned Konosuba because Yuri on Ice was like that. I'm sorry, that the dub made or break for me. If I didn't watch Yuri on Ice dub, I probably never cared about that series. And the reason why I say that is because Yuri on Ice is one of those. It's one of those instances where if you watch it in sub, the quality may be better, but their interpretation on how they talk is so key. like when Yuri and Richter, like when they talk, like you can, like you know when Richter's flirting with Yuri, or when he's like dead serious. And I felt the dub did a really good job on that, because you can tell, you know, this is like the romantic moments, these are the teaching moments. Like they had all like these great personalities into like their vocals, which I think really portrayed the dub really well. And I'm sorry I brought I bring that up because people are like, oh, I watch, you know, not watch, but I love Yuri on Ice, you know, but they mostly watched it sub, and I was like, I think the Funimation dub did a fantastic job at it. So yeah, it's one of those.
And they got like authentic accents, didn't they?
Yeah, like even though some of them are just, you know, Dallas, Texas to LA voice actors, they really did like knocked it out the park with like some of them being French to like because you know Yuri on Ice is very like they're like all the characters are from different
like diverse
countries. Yeah. So like one's from France, other one's from Germany, like so they did a very good job for a dub to like knock their accents and not be like too over the top with it. Kind of like and what was it called? I think it was called Shaman King, when like the gangster dude with the Yakuza haircut had a really French accent for some reason.
Yeah, it still worked though.
Yeah, it worked very well. I was just surprised. I was like, you know, how did they take a Japanese thug to be a French person? But that's 4 kids and a whole other topic for an episode of the podcast. But outside of Konosuba getting a dub, do you wish for anything else for SANTASENPAI Underneath the Tree?
An anime adaptation of this manga called what? I don't know what it's called in English. I don't think it has an official but it's called like Netaigo wa Yuki ni Kogareru, which is like a tropical fish waits for snow. And
Yeah.
it's not a Yuri manga, but it has like those romantic tones where it's like it feels like it's a Yuri manga, but it's more like Yagata Kimi ni Naru, where it explores the characters' personalities rather than the relationship, like friendship between girls kind of thing.
Oh, that sounds actually interesting. That sounds
Yeah,
like
and
for
the art's really cute.
That sounds like for an interesting like anime movie.
Yeah, it could probably be a film too, because like right now there's only like 13 chapters out, so there's not enough for 12 full episodes. But if it were a film too, that would be really great.
Because I've noticed like it's not Studio Ghibli, but the company that has done Your Name and I think it's called Wolf Children, they do like a really good job at like storytelling, and like people like, oh, he's the next like Miyazaki or like Ghibli. You're like, whoa, like I may be good at telling real life stories, but I ain't Ghibli. So that interpretation of that manga does sound really good for a film.
It's really cute and good, and like the animals in it, because it's it has an aquarium theme, so like it's a lot of turtles and fish and dolphins and stuff like that. Like all the animals have their own little quirks and personalities, and they're super cute and always like talking shit in the background.
I was gonna say, speaking of animals, were you ever into Fruit Basket back in the day?
No, I never watched it.
Okay, I've been rereading that. Boy, I got sent back in time. Like no idea. Like they like like just to clarify on Fruit Basket, it does like the huge anime eyes with the chin like art structure.
Oh, like the pointy chins, like Code Geass.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting looking back, like going back in time and reading that manga. But outside of those 2 series, were there anything else you wanted for Christmas, or like a
No,
wish?
that's basically it right now.
Oh, okay. Well, yours isn't that bad. It's just hopefully Santa can just go up to LA and get some licensing working out.
Yeah.
Now, if you would have said, "Oh, I want Evangelion like DVDs back," Santa may have to go broke for a minute.
It's gonna be on Netflix anyway.
Yeah, it's actually on Netflix right now. But see, like we'll get to that Evangelion part eventually. My problem with Netflix, like they'll just they'll take it off and not tell anybody. Like they'll make it like a fever dream. Like it was here, but then now it's gone. Like no, nigga,
You kind
just
of
keep
have
it
to follow separate websites for that. You'll be like, oh, this is what's expiring soon on Netflix, but if you didn't use those websites, you would never know. That's kind of why I stopped using them.
Yeah. Because let me tell you, those I think it's Studio Gainax own Evangelion, I believe. It's not Trigger.
I think no, it used to be Gainax, now it's Studio Kara, because Ano moved studios and created his own like little.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, yeah, those DVDs are like mad expensive. Or if you're a fan of Mangake and want to see one of her videos, she actually picked up a bootleg copy of Evangelion that didn't even work on the PS4, which is fucking crazy.
It didn't work.
Yeah, like
it did work on my laptop, but the audio, like, you could barely hear it. It was like, it was so muffled. I wouldn't bother.
Right. For
it's so funny.
For the viewers watching on YouTube, I'll put up like a clip and a not timestamp, but a show card on the top right to link it to her video when she picked up the bootleg copy, because Evangelion is really expensive, and like I can just imagine, like, oh, I'm about to get a steal off of this show. Like I'm about to get all the episodes dirt cheap.
That's what I thought. I didn't know, because they listed it as the Platinum Edition, which is like the official like re-release of Evangelion on DVD, which is super expensive now. It's like $200 to $300 on eBay. It's like, ugh, why? And I saw this one for $25. I was like, whoa, $25 for Evangelion. Okay, I'm gonna get it. I want to watch this. Nah, I can't watch it.
Yo, fuck. We talk about Evangelion. I should really save that for later on in the show notes. But yeah, we'll get back to Evangelion because we can talk about that shit for hours. But yeah, going back to SANTASENPAI. What do I want for Santa? Let's see. Well, Santa, for the most part, I've been kind of spending my own money, so you've been lacking. If I want anything from SANTASENPAI, I want every Viz Media movie announcement to not be an hour away from my movie theater. Because what Studio Gainax loves to do, they'll be like, oh, we have the Fate movie coming out, or oh, we got like this, other anime property company. Not Gainax, I'm Aniplex. I got Evangelion on the mod. Fuck. No, what Aniplex loves to do, they'll be like, oh, we're airing Full Metal or Fate. And they'll be like, it's an hour away from your movie theater. I'm like, stop fucking doing that, bro. Like, and the reason why I say stop doing that, and Santa, this is on you as well, is because like that's a small amount of people. Like when I went to go see Sword Art Online, it's not Fatal Bullet, it's
Ordinal Scale?
Yeah, Ordinal Scale. That movie theater was packed mainly because it was in a local area, like where everybody can get together. If you go to these hour-long drive sections, you're not gonna sell out, most likely. And it's just like, oh, but its population is, more over there. It's like, yeah, but would you rather sell out and just be like, oh, we still have 2 to 3 seats? I'm like, no, you want to sell out the whole theater. So that's one thing I wish for SANTASENPAI, and I say that because there are so many anime movies coming out next year that we'll talk about, but a lot of these companies, they'll aim it towards the more populated areas that take forever to get to. So that's one wish. The second wish I have for Senpai is I wish for Funimation in Dallas. I wish for Funimation in Dallas, Texas, to stop making these deluxe editions for series that we don't ask for, because there was one series that me and Kay really liked. I can't remember on the top of my head, but that didn't get a special edition. But My Girlfriend as a Gal did, and I know the reason is because they're all. Alright, so My Girlfriend as a Gal, for those who don't know, that's mostly done in Dallas, Texas Funimation. And the reason why that got a special edition, because those group of people are all very good friends with each other. So, they got in the works to be like, hey, we really like working on this series. Let's give it a bigger box set than these other animes that, we have in this, state and, whatnot and so on. And it's just like, My Girlfriend is a Gal doesn't deserve that and isn't really that good of a series. Now, if I was a voice actor, hell yeah, I would sell out. Be like, man, I got a chance to air in the show, or, be in the show, blah, blah, blah. But you look at it as a whole, you see after a year it aired, it's not that very good. Didn't need a, special DVD box set. So, yeah, I just really hope Funimation in the future does look for series that deserve it more than, what's the word I want to use? Then it's not being self-conscious. It's more just not being, words escape me, bias is what I'm trying to say. And I say the word bias is because they're very tight-knit at Dallas, Texas, and I'm sure most, if not all of them, got together, but like, yeah, we enjoyed being a part of this show. Let's make it even more of a seller on DVD than
I don't think it's really about the voice actors saying we really like the show, more than them thinking or seeing that a lot of viewership came from people to see this show. Because I know, like, quality-wise, it's pretty freaking awful. Absolutely
bad.
hate that. But the English dub became really popular with viewers because it pretty much shat on the entire show the whole time, like Ghost Stories did.
Oh yeah, that's another troll.
It's like a modern Ghost Stories where the whole thing is just a big shit show, and so it became really popular with like memers and like
anime YouTubers.
yeah, who were like, you gotta watch this dub because it's so funny.
Right.
And so people went to go watch it, and then like increased popularity, and so they're like, wow, look at all these people liking this show, let's give it a box set. Whereas the reason I'm super salty is because Funimation doesn't.
They don't understand, bro. That's just what it is.
It's not that they don't understand. It was more like they can't. How do I say this? Okay, so the show that I'm salty about that didn't get a special release is Love Live Sunshine season 1. Season 1, when it aired exclusively on Funimation before they shared all their stuff with Crunchyroll. And so like everyone's like basically pirating it and watching it on illegal sites because they couldn't or didn't want to get a Funimation subscription because shocker, you can only be in the US to get a subscription to there. That was back in 2016. But they decided, let's just give this a standard Blu-ray release just because like we don't really get it. And like Love Live fans were like, what the fuck, this is Love Live, like are you really gonna pass on the biggest show, like the biggest anime franchise of all time right now?
Yeah, and this is one, because I'm glad you mentioned that up, because this is one we can actually tag team on and talk about together. Is Love Live is picked up by Funimation, but I've noticed with a lot of people that work in Funimation, both Dallas, Texas, and LA, they mostly focus on action. Like they're not all shonen, but mostly focus on action series for some reason. And,
action and harems.
Yeah, and I say that because Love Live, rather if you like the show or not, I don't really give a fuck. It's really popular in Japan. It may be like one of the biggest animes outside of like One Piece and like whatever your favorite other anime series is. So when Funimation picked it up, I'm surprised the marketing on Love Live isn't as big as like say a My Hero or a One Piece when it comes to Funimation, like licenses and commercials, ads, blah blah blah, the works. Because Love Live is very popular. Like we're gonna talk about the movie soon, like in our show notes. But the fact that both LA and Dallas, both voice acting wise, both own Love Live, for the I was about to say locally, from those two states, it's just like, why don't you push this more? Like if you look what's popular in Japan, you can easily find Love Live without a doubt. Like,
oh god, yeah. When I was in Japan, every store this was like during my little period where I'm like, okay, like I'm a Love Live fan, but I'm kind of looking for something else. And every other idol show, like Bandori, Idol Master, Precure,
yeah, Precure,
all those things, they had their little sections, but Love Live was absolutely everywhere. In every single store, they had this huge section just dedicated to Love Live. And I was like, wow, this is really huge. And the first series of Love Live School Idol project which had the original Muse girls.
Yeah.
That was licensed by NISA, Nippon Ichi Software of America. And they gave the original series premium editions. They had the movie like everywhere. It had technical difficulties, but they tried. They like the fans begged them, like, give this to us in Canada and we'll throw money at you, and they did. And Funimation's just kind of like sleeping on everything Sunshine. Even with the movie coming up, they haven't announced that they licensed it. But for Dragon Ball Super, the Brawly movie, they were like, oh yeah, we picked this right up day one.
Yeah, like, and that's like the key thing I mentioned. Like a lot of these battle shonen series, like they'll market immediately. Like the My Hero movie, instantly, marketing commercials. The One Piece movie did. What was another movie out? Like outside it, there was My Hero, Dragon Ball, and there's another shonen one. But like they instantly like push out like ads, trailers, like on YouTube, social media live. When it comes to Love Live, they don't. It's just like, and I don't really understand it because. And I say I don't understand because I think the company is like really full of like, I hate to say it, older people that don't really, okay, what's popping in Japan, which is not really that hard. Everybody has Google, everybody has some form of social media to see like, oh, idol shows are really popular. Even like a show that I'm not into, but I know that it's really popular is I've gotten reincarnated into a blob. That's
slime.
picked up by, like, I think it's Funimation, I want to say. They don't even market that much. And I'm just like, they sleep on a lot of these series just to focus on Dragon Ball and My Hero and One Piece. And it's just like, I get it, Battle Shonen series is like the easiest market to like, promote,
Right.
but you can open your horizon like so much more. Like, I think, they have picked up Mob Psycho 100, and they had aired it at Anime Expo. That Funimation promoted that? No, that was Anime NYC that promoted it, and that's the problem.
And Crunchyroll.
Yeah, and like that's the problem. Like, they have these licenses that a lot of people, both in Japan and America, both really love, but they focus on they focus on the stuff that's been around in the 90s, and that's kind of what pisses me off, because that pertains to One Piece, that pertains to Fairy Tail, that pertains to these shows that are out of date, to be honest with you, that could be, just, I wish Funimation would just hire other groups of people that know other stuff in the anime industry. That's why Crunchyroll kind of kicks their ass sometimes, is because they take anime YouTubers. That's why Konosuba blew up at Crunchyroll's convention. That's why other stuff and like other YouTuber panels blow up at that convention. Funimation is so tight-knit, especially in Dallas, Texas, where they're just like, okay, we got My Hero, got Dragon Ball, got One Piece. I think they still have the license to Full Metal, if that hasn't gone up by now. And
No, that was taken by Aniplex like a couple years ago.
So, alright, so that's just out the window. But it's like they focus on like these popular basic shonen series instead of just broadening their horizon, which again is very annoying, because I know eventually, if this doesn't get an anime soon, that OVA will get out. I know Yu Yu Hakusho will get put out somewhere, and that reason alone for them not promoting Love Live is why I fear Fruit Basket so much, because Fruit Basket is, I don't give a fuck, it's very popular, like especially when it aired, it's exponentially huge, and I feel it's going to get swept under the rug by the constant marketing that Funimation has kept up with so long, with only focusing on these 90 series.
Well, they did announce that they picked up Fruits Basket, didn't they?
Oh
like
yeah,
the very day that it came out that it was gonna premiere in January, they were like, "Oh yeah, we got this."
Oh yeah, they announced it on Twitter, but it's just like, I want to see ads. I want to see you guys, go the full mile with it. Because like with My Hero and Dragon Ball, they are constantly talking about, tweet about it, blah blah blah.
That's why I had to unfollow and block them, because I was just so sick of seeing Dragon Ball. Like I don't hate Dragon Ball and My Hero. I'm just so sick of seeing it around.
Yeah, and like I don't hate
that. Like I had to block them. I blocked Bandai, because that's all they talk about is Dragon Ball.
Yeah, you gotta block Bandai like from the jump. Like, yeah, but like that's just one of those instances where it's like I think like I'm looking at their site right now. They own Gintama, they own Death Parade. They already promote Show by Rock. Like, you've got so many. I think they own also Future Diary and Lupin the Third. If I could be wrong on those two, but it's like you have so many series like Panty and Stalking, but you promote none of them. You promote the ones that are ongoing, which is fine. I get it, Shonen Jump, blah blah blah. But it's just like you got so many other options. Also, you can make tons of money with Love Live. I don't give a fuck if you don't like that series. There is so much that you can do with Love Live that like people in the US go crazy over that. I'm surprised Crunchyroll hasn't pushed that as much as they do in Japan.
I remember last year at Anime Expo, Aqua were actually gonna be there. Like they had their own panel where like they all showed up and we're gonna talk to the fans. And thank God I got there early, because I had to sit in line for 3 hours. And people even before me, I was like, "What time did you guys get here?" Because I got there at like 11 a.m. The thing didn't start until 3 p.m.
They were like, "Yo,"
and I was like, "I gotta get to the front." And they were like, "We've been here since like 7 a.m." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, no. I'm glad you brought that up.
They are dedicated fans, and it's absolutely crazy that they're not gonna like take advantage of that and give them like pretty much everything. Like as much as they give Dragon Ball fans, like they're really missing out on the big market that is the Idol fan.
I hate to say it, but they're all old heads. Like I'm gonna get so fucked up for saying that, but like they're all very old in the way of like marketing and promoting like what's pop. Like I think the problem with Funimation is like I think Dragon Ball blew up so much it's like they researched what Shonen Jump was and was like, okay, we're gonna focus on that company, and whatever gets picked up by us, we'll promote the hell out of it. And like I think that's what their fault is, because for a little bit it got a little bit of popularity, not popular, but they promoted it a little bit. But Attack on Titan also got picked up by Funimation. and it got marketed, but it didn't get marketed as much as like My Hero, One Piece, blah blah blah. So it's just like, you know, you guys lack in a lot, and it's not easy to run a business. Like, for whoever watches this show, we know we're not shitting on these companies. We're not saying they're bad. We're just saying that there's a lot of potential that could be pushed, and we just wish that a lot more ads and trailers and YouTube promotion goes to more of these other series than the ones that we see on a day-to-day basis. Because I've seen the My Hero movie trailers. I've seen the Dragon Ball movies trailer. I've seen every fucking Fairy Tail trailer, to be honest with you. But I would like to see a variety of other shows that don't get the spotlight or that are not picked up by big companies like Shonen Jump, is what we're trying to say, if anybody takes this fucking out of context in the future.
Right. Like, I'm not a shonen fan. Like, I've read Naruto, I've read Bleach, but I mainly watch slice of life, Yuri, romance, stuff like that. So, like, maybe I'm just out of the loop, like I don't get it, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a huge untapped market there that they're just completely ignoring. Because I know Dragon Ball is a huge market because, you know, people who don't watch anime like Dragon Ball, and that's like, that will give them the most money. But idol fans at the same time will buy like 50 of the same item of the girl they like just to support it, which is crazy.
Yeah, and that's granted, this is a different genre, but when Yuri on Ice, for like the first 2 episodes got aired, Funimation didn't really promote it. That was, again, that kicks their fucking ass every time. That was more Crunchyroll. That was more of the you know, I'm surprised. That is so funny. I think about it. The fans in Crunchyroll promoted Yuri on Ice more than Funimation did, and I say that because Yuri on Ice was also a simulcasting. So, like, you know, every week the new episode would come up, like, you know, after being behind 2 episodes of the sub. But again, that's another incident where they pick up a lot of these titles that boom in Japan, but they don't market it as such in America, which is really but yeah, that's a huge problem. And but yeah, I think, yeah, Anime Senpai, we're still on that, my bad. But yeah, Anime Senpai, just have Funimation focus on Love Live and DVD box sets that actually matters. And I just want Funimation to, like, open their horizon, just, you know, give other series a chance, because so far it's mainly...
It's funny how with season 2 the Blu-ray is coming out soon, and so they're like trying to fix their fuck up by giving us Love Live like limited edition box set, which fits part 1 in there.
No. Yo, woo! I'm glad you mentioned that. So, you ever heard the anime Speed Racer?
Yes.
So Funimation, I'll never let you live this down. So Funimation had released, I think this was last year, either 2017 or 2016. They were like, hey guys, we have Speed Racer on DVD. Weirdly enough, DVD or Blu-ray, one of those. And they're like, oh, we have it dubbed and subbed. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard Speed Racer subbed in America?
No.
Good, because fucking nobody has. And not only that, nobody even have the audio or the episodes Japanese subbed. So they almost got
Japanese sub?
Yeah. So now I'm not subbed. I mean, Japanese dub, whatever, with subtitles. But what they almost got caught with, like false like advertisement because that DVD does not come like subbed Japanese voiceover. So some of that Funimation noticed that. They were like, oh, we can't market it that. We gotta like redo this whole thing again. Just be like, hey, this is only dubbed only. So I thought that was hilarious how they were like, oh, we have Japanese audio. No, the fuck you don't. Because nobody's heard the Japanese audio for Speed Racer. So I thought that was hilarious. But moving on, I think... Okay, so any last things for Anime Senpai before we move on after the jolly old man?
No. I think if I keep listing stuff I want, it'll be too long.
Yeah, me too. I also just realized that Funimation has Danganronpa, the anime, under their list, but we'll be here for days if we go on all the stuff Funimation owns. So the next topic on our show notes is series we've been watching as of late.